Hey guys, what's happening? Political Dank House, Ron Humperdinck here. Dylan James, to all the normies that don't know me on the YouTube. I was sitting here thinking for weeks how good of a candidate, to start out, I wouldn't vote for, at least not in the way things are now, but a good candidate for the Democratic side. So good that an old school that the new party might as well just kick her out, or she might as well leave, because they're never going to let her have a nomination like that. I hate to be that dickhead. How everybody says, well, that would be the normal thing to do, so the Democrats aren't going to do it. I don't want to seem like that guy because I'm a right winger, but you can't help but read the tea leaves. They want someone like a Kamala Harris or someone more establishment. But if you looked at Democrats, they want to appease themselves, their vision. They don't want to win, really. And you can tell it because Kamala Harris, who they're talking about, and I slipped my mind. I was thinking Tulsi Gabbard, but Tulsi Gabbard, she's got a military career, decorated, is really modest, and has a really even-keeled temperament. She's attractive, and the take she's had recently on certain things. If it wasn't for the Second Amendment stuff she talks about, she would be clobbering come maybe 2024, because she pushes back against the media narratives and the BS and makes herself known from the crowd of people, but not to the level of, say, Donald Trump in the RNC type of thing in 2016 or even now. But she's not hated, or she's not liked by the same people. And when Assange was arrested and taken out of the London embassy, when ironically after a loan of money from the IMF World Bank was sent to the Venezuelan leader, the new one, that is. I think it's Lenin something. But in Ecuador, he said, F this, go ahead, bust in there and get Assange. So they did. And there's this weird stuff that people are saying about how his feet didn't touch the ground. And I think I've said this in another video, where his feet didn't touch the ground. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if he kept his feet from touching the ground himself. I know he was yelling, we must fight, all this stuff. But that might have to do with prosecuting him in America instead, because America's who's pissed off at him. It's going to be a big L if Trump doesn't do anything. I understand I don't know much about WikiLeaks. Whenever people say, oh, he's lying, a fucking snake. It seems shitty to say for sure, but my thing is, it's like the media really is like children. You sit back and you think I could tell somebody the real explanation, but it's not going to help them because they're not going to get it. What's it going to help? That's how he was doing with the media. Because if he says, yeah, I love WikiLeaks, then people are going to say, aha, I fucking knew it. You have a soft spot for Julian Assange, not just because he releases stuff on everyone, and one of the times it happened to help you with Hillary. It's not about Hillary not doing evil, satanic, witchcraft, spirit cooking shit. No, don't run to her and tell her not to have that stuff on herself, because that's how politics work. Instead, just punish everybody else for seeing it. Chris Cuomo. Remember, it's illegal to see these stolen documents. And so everything you're learning through us, the media, and of CNN of all people. All the empty stalls in every airport bathroom was just fucking dying for Chris Cuomo's take. But when he got arrested, Tulsi Gabbard was saying, this isn't good. This is attack on journalism. And came out even stronger than Trump. I think Trump's in a position where he can't. And if he were to do anything about it for right now, I just have to wait and see. It's going to be a really big L on his record if he doesn't do the right thing, that is. When it comes to war, she's non-intervention. I'm non-intervention. That's what makes me different than a lot of, say, right-wingers. I don't think we should be in Afghanistan. What good is it? Because it's like with Vietnam, Afghanistan, People say, oh, it's just a bunch of rebels in ragtag, just like the Viet Cong were. But you're fighting them in your own or their own terrain, and they're going to hide in trees and stuff in Vietnam. They're going to hide in the rocks and the mountains in Afghanistan. And the reason we even went into places like that was to get Osama. You were chasing him. You know, we always end up having to stay somewhere, or happening to. But we all know we're in Afghanistan because of the poppy plants. You know, men and women are shedding their American blood for big pharma. The biggest drug dealer on the corner is Walgreens. It's not in a back alley from someone's pocket. And so all those opiums are going over here, and at the same time we've got an opioid crisis. So it's one of those things. Are you doing is it a Hegelian dialect? I don't know if that's what I'm thinking of. But anyways, problem solution. That's what they're doing. We hear about it over here, and Trump's talking about it too. Oh, you know, we're the highest we've ever been on drugs and pain pills, and they keep throwing them out, and doctors are protected, and handing them out. And we're in Afghanistan, you know, fighting to save those poppy plants that make opium. And so if we got an opioid crisis, we're going to have to cut back on many of these. We're going to have to stop. You know, you don't quit drinking beer and then keep hitting the liquor store, or liquor and hit the liquor store. You know, after you're done, you say, okay, I'm going to not go until I want to again. But they're not doing that. Why would we stay over there if they have no plans to stop this opioid crisis? To me, it's just like war on drugs times 3,000. You know, Bush Sr. would be proud. We're in Syria for the oil and the pipeline that's coming up, which is sure, yeah, it's fine for our interest. But, you know, we didn't have to go there, and I don't believe in the regime change crap, especially not with, say, Venezuela. I know Gabbard, who I made this video about, of course, is strong about not intervening there too, which is important. When it comes to the Saudi-Yemeni civil war conflict, she's on it. You know, she made a tweet recently. It was like an ad, a 2-minute thing or so. It was, you know, kind of blasting Trump about it. You know, and I thought, damn, you go, girl. You know. And she was saying it was a humanitarian crisis, and you know, she wasn't a bitch about it, which was what was awesome. She called him out. She wasn't a bitch about it. She was like, Mr. President, you know that Saudis are not to be trusted. They're not our strong allies over there, because we're helping them to slaughter Yemenis, and it's going to look bad on us. And she was real thorough and real cognizant. You know, it wasn't like Elizabeth Warren saying, we're going to get his tax returns, or Hillary saying, how come he's not in prison? The gall that bitch has. But it's just cool to have someone who's actually decently level-headed, and they just don't want anything to do with her. And another thing that was really refreshing when it came out, you know, left-wingers, they could even play this out and pretend like, oh, this is great for America, because they know they can't do anything about the Mueller report, right? There was nothing in it. At least they could do is say, well, at least this is good for America. They can't even pretend, because they have that much hatred for not having their plan go as they want. Tulsi was the only one that came out that said, guys, you can love or hate the results, the Mueller report, but we all trusted Mueller. You know, she's talking on behalf of herself, and I'm not talking on behalf of me or for her, but this is what she said, something like this. You know, he had 2 years, and he investigated, and our law and, you know, U.S. is to be trusted, and it's a good thing that our president is not under, you know, foreign influence of what we thought he was. It's actually a good thing, because, see, she's pragmatic. She's thinking about optics in the good way, like, hey, this looks good for all of us. This is a result that's good. The Democrats have an idea of what they want as the solution, and it doesn't matter what the problem spits out. They wanted Trump to be guilty, and you can see how they're flipping out now. They're saying, well, you know, Barr's, you know, slapped it down. Somebody summarized it too much. He really meant this, you know, collusion, and he obstructed, and he's obstructing a crime that's made up and under false pretenses, which you can't do. Tulsi's the only one that seems to be saying, you know what, whatever. I trust it. You know, it's a good thing we're not having to worry about that. Now let's get back to the issues. But, you know, Democrats are not going to do that. And so they're really just shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to not at least taking her serious. and it's just funny to me. It's a woman, and no one wants a woman. I say this because the Democrats, first woman when it was Hillary, and even with Elizabeth Warren, they'll go, oh yeah, you go girl and stuff. But when it's Tulsi, it's no. Same with Republicans. It's because it's an outsider. With Trump, love him or hate him, he was saying things that the Republicans, 20 years ago, or even had been, saying over and over and over, and never had any, wherewithal to follow through with it, or no plan to. Then somebody comes in that's a true outsider, and they, he got attention because he was bombastic and things, and maybe Tulsi could be like that. Do a little more provocative things, like the Saudi video on Twitter was really good. But Trump or a Tulsi, even a Bernie, back before he was a sellout to the DNC and rolled over, they represented change. Change that people were offering, but they were wanting to go through with it. Like Democrats, they say, we don't need to be bombing children and this and that, especially if there's a Republican in there. But someone like a Tulsi will not stop talking like that when a Democrat's in. She's the type to have called out Obama for drone strikes and things like that. She's, pretty fair on all of that. And I'm thinking if there's anything else that caught my attention, but there's like 3 or 4 things I mentioned here that were really good optics for her, and the way she handled herself and the way she's maneuvering her campaign. But what's sad to me is I don't think that they're going to take her serious. They're going to try to snuff her out as much as they can. They don't want change in the Democratic Party like they didn't want change in the Republican. And regardless of what you think the ideology is supposed to stand for, this is talking about a fly in the ointment of 2 good old parties that have things situated. You can see it with, say, a Nancy Pelosi and an AOC. I don't like Cortez at all, but it's funny to watch Pelosi, who's an actual hardened criminal, when it comes to the old guard of Democrats, to say, look, we've got this situation where we fleece the public through taxes and things, and that's for both sides, the government at the top. Shut up, just get your money, and you can get you this new suit and purse and all this stuff if you'll just shut up. Stop trying to be radical. She's a revolutionary. And so Nancy Pelosi, she would probably find a way to get her out of her own party through blackmail or something like that before even a Republican would, because it does more for a right-winger good to make them look foolish than it does her, or help Nancy Pelosi. And so that's what I see with Tulsi Gabbard. Except Tulsi Gabbard's sane. I'm not saying that she's like AOC. Because even if you wanted to be a socialist, which I don't think is smart, AOC is not your best explainer of what that is. She's not a good figurehead. She's just in there like an iconoclast or something. But if they wanted to win, they'd pick a Tulsi, but they can't now. This is kind of their throwaway, so maybe in 2024 or something, but this is definitely their throwaway because they've spent 2 years going into the next election, which is going to be harder than the first one, with Trump already in there. The incumbent usually has the upper hand, but for 2 years they've been focusing on Russia, and it wasn't even a legit thing. It was just something made up, and now they're trying to word salad and change what they meant. We didn't really mean this, and goalposts move. And they're out of the stadium now. Pele couldn't even hit that shit, But I don't know. They brought it upon themselves. Hopefully in 2024, I'm not a Democrat or a left winger at all, but I'm the type of guy that I like competition when they actually represent their points, what they want, and represent them well. I've always been the guy that I'll disagree with you, but if you firmly believe and can tell me why you believe what you believe, no matter what it is, I can respect you for it. It's like playing a sports game, It's not fun to win just when you're playing against people that don't care and don't try. And that's what the Democrats are doing. They're falling all over themselves, and we're just dunking on them. And not we as a Republican, but just everybody. Anybody that goes up against what, I'm trying to personify the group, what they would call themselves, the resistance or whatever. The new resistance, the resist Trump type of crowd, or resist white supremacy crowd. They just keep getting dunked on. And, it's going to be hard to say fight someone or battle someone that is actually good at the sport. Like my brother would be good at basketball. It'd be harder for me to play against him. He's actually better, but I know that my resolve would be tested. I'll have to come up with better ideas of my own. I'll have to evolve my own ideas, and that's what I want. Because you're not going to get better if you know the person you're going up against is going to just fall like it's nothing. And I'm afraid that that will make right-wingers weak after a while. So I actually have a vested interest in it to cover something like this. But tell me what you think. And as always, just keep hopping to it. Follow your boy at Political Dankhouse on Instagram for now with the memes and all that. www.instagram.com/POLICI. Just kidding. POLITICAL. And then the underscore and dank with a Q. DANQHOUSE. And here on the same thing, Political Dankhouse on YouTube, the alias is L. Ron Humperdinck, so that all the cool people around here know. But check me out on Twitter under the same political_DANQ dank. And that's about all. I wanted to clear my head on this, and the Democrats are really shooting themselves in the foot, doing something foolish. What's new? Y'all take it easy.